This is the sound of the Alentejo. It's called Cante Alentejano, one singer leading the chorus. These male voice choirs can form spontaneously, especially in old-style taverns, and with the help of wine, a very special kind of wine.
Vila de Frades já não tem abade, mas tem adegas que são catedrais.
They're singing about Vila de Frades, or Friar's Town, where we're at for this whole episode. We're here to look at a tradition which began with the Romans and still goes on today.
So get ready to step back in time to the origins of wine. Hear all about Portugal's return to a Roman style of winemaking and to the town where it never went away.
Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of Anna and Al's Big Portuguese Wine Adventure. I'm Anna.
And I'm Al. And now we know a bit about Portugal's wines, it's time to descend into the cellars of history.
The Romans in this region made wine in clay amphorae, known here as talha. This is the original natural wine.
This episode we'll learn all about it, courtesy of a diamond miner who gave up her career for love and wine.
It's got a lot to do with St. Martin, and we'll be putting our new tasting skills to the test by trying to distinguish white wine from red.
It's harder than you might think. We'll also be visiting the Festival of the Talhas, where there's wine, there's song, and there's this. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So we're in Vila de Frades, and this little cute town is actually the capital of Portuguese talha wines, they say.
And this lovely little area walking down is lined with orange trees.
They smell so gorgeous. They're blossoming right now.
And the village is, well, I guess it's like any Alentejo town, isn't it?
It's all white with the bright colors around the edges of the windows. It's typical Alentejo, small village. Really lovely. Talha is a method of making wines in big amphorae that the Romans used. But for me, what's very interesting is that this is a real way of making sustainable wines.
It's all the thing about wines being genuine and the story being genuine, but this actually is genuine. This was actually made by the Romans, and it is being made today.
And it tastes amazing.
Cool, well, let's meet some people.
Bruno Gomes is going to be our guide. We met him last episode in Plancel's wine tasting class.
Yeah, he runs wine tours across Portugal, and we arranged to meet him on the main street. Morning.
Hello, good morning all. Welcome to Vila de Frades, okay. Vila de Frades is like the center of the talha production here. You are in the front of a very small house, but it's a winery, so the people live above the winery. So we're going to visit Gerações de Talha. That was a young project from Teresa. Teresa continued wine production from her grandfather.
Okay, fantastic.
So let's go, Al and Hannah. Let's
go. Gerações de Talha, generations of Talha.
Let's go inside. Oh wow, and you can see them straight away.
Yeah.
Here they are.
So that's
look, hello Teresa.
Teresa, hi, hello.
We have Anna, hello. And we have Paul.
Hola, hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good morning and welcome. We are in a winery with 250 years. My grandfather bought this build. He lives upstairs and the winery is downstairs. Here we have 50 talhas. Some people say amphoras, yes. But here it's talha, so it's a clay pot. Okay, we have this since the Romans, 2,000 years. So it comes generation to generations, and here I am.
Fantastic.
Have you always been interested in wine since you were a little girl?
Yes, this type of wine I remember always because when I was really child, like baby, I remember the sound of the wine. You really need to hear the sound. It's really fantastic.
Oh, we can't wait. Inside here is also a really beautiful sound because these rounded ceilings.
They're like vaulted ceilings, aren't they?
Vaulted ceilings, and it's filled with gigantic amphorae that are taller than us, some of them, definitely bigger. And I think most of them also filled with wine in this room.
Yes, yes, some of them as wine, yes.
Fantastic.
Tell us a little bit about how you make wine in these talhas, these amphora pots.
Okay, so the big difference, we use all the grape, okay? We use the skins, we use the stem and the seeds, yes, all things. Okay. So we put that inside the talha, then the fermentation will start. And during this fermentation, all the solid parts will come up.
Wow. So there's a layer of stuff, of all the things that are raised to the top near the mouth of or the top of the pot. And how do you deal with that? What's next?
Okay, what's next? So then 2 or 3 times a day, we will mix everything with this one that we call the rodo. Okay, a rodo, it's
a rod. It's a wooden stick with a block at the end. Yeah.
Yes, so we use the rodo and we mix everything. Why? Because if we don't do that, the talha can boom. Explode, yes. Because of the CO2 will continue to ferment.
Fermenting, yeah.
Yes, and they can't escape, so they will
explode.
So fermentation more or less 3 weeks. Then we don't have more CO2, and all the solid parts comes down and become what we call the mother. Okay, so the mother is the solid parts in the bottom, and then you will have the sun. It's the wine. Okay, then we wait 2 months, and then we open the tap so slowly, and the wine will across the mother, and this is the natural filter. Okay.
So the stems build up at the bottom of the pot,
right,
and help create the filter.
And the sun filters through the stems, the mother, and comes out. And what we are seeing here is a beautiful golden colored wine.
And that's not been filtered by anything else except coming through.
Anything else?
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes, that's amazing. And this is the sound that I am saying you. It's the sound that the wine. It's so fantastic. It's like.
I want to hear that now.
Well, you have to wait till the winter.
So we decided we would come back to hear that sound and to meet Teresa's grandfather.
But for now, there's an important local landmark where history and winemaking meet. Well, this is São Cucufat. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, São Cucufat.
São Cucufat, which was a Roman villa or a series of villas over a number of centuries, and then it became a monastery after that. And that seems to have been the centre of a really important wine industry in this area.
And it's really mind-boggling to look at this gorgeous, large ruin and then see all the grapes that are growing around here today and think about how that has been happening for millennia.
Yeah,
millennia.
So 2,000 years ago, the grapes were growing here and they were making wine in the same way that people are growing grapes today and making wine in the same way.
In the exact same method, in the same shaped amphorae.
What's also interesting for me is the layers of history. You've got the Romans making wine, and then you've got the monks making wine.
The sacrament of the blood of Christ was so important that they would give farmers vines to plant just as long as they would provide the church with the sacrament, with the blood of Christ. And they say there's evidence that this is actually the oldest wine-producing site in the whole Iberian Peninsula.
That's what they say. I'm sure other people have got other ideas about that.
Well, no, we're going to stick with that.
All right, let's stick with that.
And someone else who's also convinced is the mayor of this Vidigueira region. He's the man trying to get Talha wines protected by the United Nations.
My name is Rui Raposo, and I'm the president of the municipality. And this is our work to keep that knowledge like the Romans did.
Now, this is something that was done with Cante Alentejo as well, the singing. That's a UNESCO thing now, isn't it?
Yes.
Is your idea to try and do the same thing?
It's like to do the same thing. How can I say? Eles estão ligados, ou seja, o vinho, as tabernas, a tradição, o cante, a gastronomia.
Yes, of course. So the tabernas, the traditional restaurants, and the Talha wine, the traditional singing, and the food, the gastronomy, and the wine, they are all linked together.
Yes, that's right. Thank you.
And you've also developed an interpretive centre. Why did you do that? Is this bringing people in from around the world?
We need some knowledge to introduce the Talha wine. After they can go to the tabernas and know all the process, know all the taste of the Talha wines. They are all different.
They can spend less time asking questions and more time enjoying the wine and the food.
Right.
And when was this built and when was it opened?
It was open in the middle of the COVID pandemic, but we don't give up.
It's beautiful, isn't it, love?
It's absolutely stunning. It has all of these beautiful old amphorae in a gorgeous, very modern, very light, very high-tech space.
And we just walked through a tunnel, a cork tunnel that looks like going through the bottom of one of these big clay pots. It is very innovative, what you've done here.
Yes,
it's beautifully designed. Why do you think Talha is now the big thing?
I think it was a so great product, sustainable product, biological product with this tradition. It was a unique wine, unique taste.
We wish Mayor Rui Raposo the best of luck in his quest to get Talha wines given World Heritage status by UNESCO.
Talha wine is the new big thing in Alentejo. If you remember, we first came across them at amphorae winery in episode 2.
They're emerging from the small family cellars into the big wineries, and one of the pioneers is Rosin.
And Bruno was once again on hand to show us round and introduce us to the head winemaker.
So we are in the Rosin. This is one of the emergent producers in Alentejo and here in Vidigueira. Started 14 years ago. It's one of the beautiful architecture buildings here in Portugal. You're going to see it's like he's blended in the landscape, and that was the purpose. So all our brands have something natural, okay? Right
The
now,
building combines concrete and natural materials.
and even our labels have like the birdies that you are listening, okay? That's the birds.
What is it? What kind of bird?
Is a chapin imperial.
Chapin imperial. Any clues?
The
That's the bird.
imperial tit.
The imperial tit. Ah, fantastic, love. Good Googling skills. Cool.
Good name.
Surrounded by them. Yeah. And we're also surrounded by vineyards everywhere we can see. Are these on this side all Rosim's vineyards?
Yeah, 70. Even that side of their harvest
Yeah.
also. So we have
I think now's a good time for a clink and a think about your favorite subject, the geography of Alentejo.
Oh, don't get me started. Here at Rosim Winery, we're in the shadow of the Serra do Mendro Hills, a geological fault which divides the upper Alto Alentejo from the lower or Baixo Alentejo.
The Alto Alentejo has Évora as its capital. That's a great wine town, which we will be visiting in a couple of episodes.
And the lower Baixo Alentejo is run from the city of Beja. We're meeting some Roman soldiers there next time.
According to Rosin's winemaker, it's the location, the soils and the weather which are unique.
So my name is Pedro Ribeiro. I'm originally from Porto, north of the country. I worked in port wine. I came to the Alentejo 18 years ago. Rosin, it's very well known for wines, traditional amphora wines that we call Vinho de Talha. We have a modern approach that we call clay-aged, made in some clay pots developed by us and Montpellier University. We try to develop this 2,000-year-old tradition. all of these wines are much more in a mineral side than in a fruity side. So it's about terroir. In Portugal, we are known by the blends. In this case of the amphorae wines, we use very old vineyards with 70, 75, 80 years old. So all the grapes are mixed, reds, whites. If something's wrong, it's not winemaker's fault.
Does that not make it more challenging though? Because you just get what you're given. You don't have the choices to be able to adapt and pick at a certain time of year, if I'm understanding it right.
Yes, so modern winemaking is the opposite of what we make here. So I go to the field, I taste the different grapes, and I need to have a gut feeling. This grape is green, this is over-ripened, this one is something in between, and it's this unbalance that make the final balanced wine.
Everyone else gets a number of different tries at harvesting at the right time, whereas you just get one go at it.
It's no guts, no glory. You have to choose one day and let's go. And usually it's working good. So.
Sounds very stressful.
It was a few years ago, not anymore. Now it's just fun.
I love sitting here and hearing you say, this is about blends, this is about terroir. Mm-hmm. It's a completely different way of thinking about it.
In Portugal, the real traditional Portuguese wines is not about the grape itself. It's about the region and the terroir of that region. Suddenly, everything changed. I remember going to, for instance, US, to New York, to the best places, in the best restaurants with the top sommeliers, and suddenly I realized they were not so happy and enthusiastic about selling the Chateau, Mouton Rothschild, blah blah blah. They were much more enthusiastic about selling the crazy white wine from Slovakia or orange wine from northern Italy. And I have some kind of epiphany about these amphorae wines. I was the first of the modern wineries to bottle these wines. Winemakers didn't care about amphorae wine. Actually, when I started to bottle these wines, so it's nuts. He only thinks about amphorae wines. Nowadays, even the big wineries have amphorae wines because the markets are looking to that. And it's such a different new way of making wine, although it's old.
And Pedro has produced a clay-aged wine called Jupiter that sells for more than $1,000 a bottle.
There's a huge amount of interest in Talha wines, but what's driving that?
From the 90s until now, Alentejo is the best-selling Portuguese region. But at the same time, until a few years ago, until the amphorae wine explosion, it was lacking a little bit of charm. It was starting to be too industrialized, and we were losing some of our charm, our authenticity. And I think these amphorae wines, they have a very important role on this.
And for people who are trying them, who are listening and think, oh, well, what do they taste like? There is a sort of a different smell and taste to Talha wine.
If you go for a classic Talha wine, it's nothing like the modern style of wines that you taste in, like a Pinot Grigio or a Sauvignon Blanc, nothing like that.
So it is quite a different taste for people.
If you are starting to drink wines, for many people it's not the easiest way to start. Usually it's more a wine for connoisseurs, but also this is changing a lot, The new wine drinkers are not the same as a few years ago, and even the new wine drinkers, they are very enthusiastic about amphorae wines. But I have to agree, it's not the easiest way to start drinking wine with is amphorae wine.
And the new generation of winemakers are getting involved in this original way of making natural wine.
It's not just Teresa. Around the corner, there's another winery run by Ruben Honrado, a young entrepreneur who's putting his business school training to good use.
Hello. Welcome to Honrado Vineyards.
Thank you very much. This is a beautiful place, isn't it?
It's absolutely stunning. Hard to describe.
We are staying right now in a place with huge arches based on Roman architecture. The floor is made out of clay bricks, which is a very typical floor from an antique wine cellar. We are surrounded by talhas, which are the clay pots where we produce our wine. I'm sure you know that all of these talhas, they're all different from each other.
Yeah, tell us more about that. They're from different areas, or they're different places, made them in different ways.
So this one you can actually see is from 1875.
Wow. Yeah.
There's no one producing talhas this big in Portugal anymore, at least to our knowledge, right? There's someone trying to recover the technique. He can produce them big, but not strong enough to hold the fermentation.
Right.
So when we opened the space and we needed more talhas, there's not a store that sells them.
Yeah, of course.
So we had to find them, knocking on our neighbors' doors, like all over the village, not only this one, but on the next village as well, and ask, hey, do you have any talha to sell? And that's how we got each one of them. So now I'm going to show you the restaurant up there. Then we're going to try some of that wine and some of that food.
Fantastic.
Sounds good?
That's lovely. Thank you.
All right. Be careful with your heads in here because it's quite low.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, this is great. It's very traditional looking, isn't it?
This is where everything started when my family bought the restaurant. This used to be just a taberna where people would come here just to drink wine and sing Canta Alentejana. So the restaurant started to become famous because people would come for the food, and we would always have a talha flowing wine directly. So people would drink directly from the clay. They would be sitting at a table and then just go there and harvest their own wine. Wow. And the restaurant started to become more and more famous, and now it's one of the most known restaurants in the region. So all the food that you eat in here is fully typical. So it's grandma food. It was my grandmother who made the recipes, who are now made by my mother.
So there's no better food than Portuguese grandmother food.
No, I mean, you can't get more genuine than that, right? Yeah.
And so began a glorious evening of amazing Alentejo foods.
And the big test of our limited wine knowledge.
Usually when you drink a glass of wine, it's transparent. So you get to see the color of the wine. It could be rosé, could be white, could be red. In this exercise, you cannot see. So you would have to use your other senses, the smell and the taste.
So we just need to say whether one of them is white, red, or...
Could be four. Yeah, could be 4 different wines. Talha white, talha red, non-talha white and non-talha red.
Okay.
So you can even have a combo of talha white with non-talha red.
Okay.
Makes it a bit harder, right?
Really, yeah, it's really
I'm ready to guess.
Okay. Microphone ready. Drum roll, please. Go on. So
I think both are white wines.
both are white.
I
Okay.
think so. I think the right wine is regular, not Talha wine.
Okay.
I think, and I think the left one is the Talha wine, white.
I think this is definitely Italian wine, the one on the left.
These on the nose don't seem the Talha wine, but then in your mouth you're going to
Taste it.
Yeah, you're right. Good. Maybe.
Yeah, the one on the left, you think it's talha?
I think it's Italian. Yeah.
Red or white?
It's strong flavoured, so I lean towards red, but it could be white. Okay. And the one on the right.
I would say both of them Italian.
That's Genia, by the way,
Should be definitely white.
a Ukrainian wine expert who was visiting with Bruno.
So, wait, both talhas?
There was a bit of back and forth while we all tried to work it out.
She thinks one is red.
Could be. This
Could
one,
be.
or it's red,
Or
or
it's
it's
red.
white, but with the longest schema.
So it's either white or red, is what you're saying.
Yes. okay. I will start with the red. Okay. I
So
will
it's
start with the
red.
Yes.
Yeah, she's pretty sure of
I was pretty sure. So big reveal.
Yeah, Anna got it right in the first place.
Hey guys. Big reveal, guys. Big reveal. Big reveal. Big reveal.
Oh, sorry.
Hannah got it right. It's It's white Talha.
Wow.
And I was right from the beginning. She was the first one to talk, and I was like, okay, so this is very easy. But then when people start talking and arguing, it kind of messes up with you.
That's fantastic, love. You beat two proper experts and wine tasters.
It was definitely beginner's luck. It's really hard to tell wines apart when they're the same temperature. Quite happifying though.
But we still hadn't heard the sound of fresh wine dripping from a newly opened amphora.
Boa tarde a todos. Vamos agora abrir uma das talhas nossas.
So we're back at Gerações de Talha Winery. It's St. Martin's Day, November 11th, and Teresa is live on Instagram while her husband João is hammering a tap into the first talha.
Teresa was a trained diamond mining engineer, but gave it all up to come home when she fell in love with João and decided to try winemaking with her grandfather. And dare I say, she struck gold?
That's the sound Teresa heard as a child and loved so much. But what did the tourists in for the weekend think of it?
We are here to taste the Talha. We saw an article about Talha wines before moving to Portugal, and we live here now for about a year. And I just love the idea of natural, old wine. So we're here to drink as much as we possibly can.
And I've heard a lot of American voices and accents in Lisbon and in Portugal. It seems to be a place a lot of Americans like you are moving to.
It seems that in the last year or so, the Americans are coming, and there have been articles in the New York Times and so forth. So, wonderful place to retire.
I'm Pedro. I'm here to taste the wine and to see the opening of the pot. I was born 2 kilometers from here. So this is my youth.
What does it taste like?
Let me taste it.
Go on then.
Oh, still a little bit corky, but really soft. Promise a lot.
All right, so this is the first one out of the Talha this year. What do you think? What does it look like, first of all?
It's beautiful, beautiful yellow. It's a little bit opaque. Tiny bit.
But it's clearing, isn't it?
It is clearing.
It's clearing. Yeah.
You can see the small bubbles. It's also served in a tiny, beautiful, like a little Arabic tea glass. Let's try it.
Cheers. Different.
Yeah.
But it tastes earthy. That's pretty good. I quite like that.
It's really nice. It's like buttery and bitter at the same time.
Yeah.
Then finally we had a chance to meet Teresa's grandfather, Professor Arlindo Maria Ruivo, for a few minutes.
You've been making wine here for a long time. Tell us.
Já faz vinho aqui há muitos anos. Conte-nos bocadinho sobre isso.
50 anos. 50.
Sim.
50 years.
50 years.
And what's it like working with your granddaughter?
Como é que é trabalhar com a sua neta?
É muito difícil.
It's a hard work.
Okay.
Why? Porquê?
Porque ela é que tem os livros, ela é que estudou.
It's hard to work with me because I learn, and sometimes he wants to do one way and I want to do on another way. And, it's a little bit difficult, but it's good.
So whose wine is the best?
Qual é que é o melhor vinho? O meu ou o seu?
Houve realmente empurrão muito grande.
It's good because it's clear that new generations don't want to lose the roots of winemaking, and they want to take it further. So the older generation are giving them a kick in the butt to move forward.
You're nodding very much, Teresa.
I'm sure the younger generation will have another way of looking at this, but it's a collab.
Este dia foi dia que nos foi transmitido sempre de geração.
This is something that has been passed on from generation to generation, from parents to children. And since he was a little kid, he has felt the happiness and all the feelings that are packed into this day.
Todas as alegrias, as tristezas.
Everything, the whole work from an entire year in this day.
Está aqui, nestas talhas a abrir.
And it's certainly a great time of the year to visit. The wines are flowing in the little wineries, which give themselves away by a slightly opened door and the sound of excited chatter from inside.
And singing too. You can't beat the traditional old tabernas like the one we stumbled across, Adega Justino da Mas.
Boa noite.
Boa noite, boa noite. Como está?
Bem, obrigado. Já faço vinho há 25 anos.
25 years making it.
Yes, 25 years of making.
Quando eu abro as talhas, desde que abro as talhas, pronto, vêm vários grupos. Vêm todos os anos.
This place is a little bit older. It's like we were just at this cool young group of friends, but this, you can see, has been here. It's super traditional. It's filled with old guys that half of them look local.
I love the fact everyone's crowded around the table eating meats and olives.
This is the first Talha place that we have been to that looks kind of what I would imagine it would have looked like. So there is a beautiful amphorae along the walls, and then in the middle there's a table, and on the table there's, without any faff, there's like olives, there is locally made bread, cheese, various sausages, smoked meat, and these guys who are standing around, and we're kind of standing here hoping that they will sing again.
Yeah, maybe they will. Yeah.
E há ondas sem ser no mar, e há ondas no o teu cabelo, e há ondas no teu olhar. Já lá vem no alto mar, puxando fogo a caldeira. Tá boa?
Muito
Não tá boa, não.
Well, that was a fun weekend, wasn't it? What did you think about the Talha and this place?
I always love coming to Vila de Frades. It always feels like such a little gem, like a secret gem. And now I can see how it's being discovered, and it's been fun. It's been great.
Well, that's the end of this episode. Great to learn about Talha wines and to see how it's bringing young people back into Portuguese towns more used to seeing their youngsters leave.
And huge thanks to Bruno Gomes for all the introductions, and to Teresa, Ruben and Pedro for their time, their food and their wine.
And to the mayor, who's trying to put Talha even more on the map. And thank you for listening. Please spread the love.
Next time we'll be delving even deeper into Roman history, meeting a real Roman soldier and a god of wine.
See you soon.